are going to be on the distributive property. The first example is 3 times negative x plus 2. The first thing you want to do is distribute since there are parentheses. Anytime you see parentheses, the first step is always going to be to distribute, which means to multiply the outside number times everything inside the parentheses. So the first step would be to multiply 3 times negative x. Well, 3 times negative x is simply negative 3x. Next, I want to multiply the 3 times the positive 2. So 3 times positive 2 is positive 6. So your final answer is negative 3x plus 6. We're not solving for this because there is no equal sign, and we cannot combine negative 3x with 6 because they are not like terms. Next example. So again, you see parentheses, so I want to multiply that negative 4 times everything inside the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the negative 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply negative 4 times 3p, which is negative 12p. Then I multiply negative 4 times negative 8, and I get 32. So my final answer is negative 12p plus 32. Again, I cannot combine those two because one has a variable, one does not, so they are not like terms. Next example, this time I have two variables. I have an x and a y inside the parentheses. Once again, whatever is outside the parentheses, you have to multiply through to everything inside the parentheses. So negative 5 times 2x is negative 10x. Then I do negative 5 times y, which is negative 5y. I cannot combine these two because one has an x, one has a y, so they are not considered like terms. So my final answer is negative 10x minus 5y. The next one. Again, there are parentheses. This time there is a y outside the parentheses and an x inside. You still do the same steps. So I'm going to distribute, and I do 5y times x, which is 5xy. The reason I put 5xy is because I always like to put it in alphabetical order just to help me with the terms. Then I multiply 5 times negative 4, which is negative 20y. My final answer is 5xy minus 20y. The reason I do not combine them is because the first term has an x, the second one does not, so they are not like terms. Next example. This one's a little tricky because I have an x on the outside and I also have x's inside. So when we multiply, we're still going to distribute because of the parentheses. So I do negative 2x times negative 4x squared. I get 8x cubed. The reason I get 8x cubed is because negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. Then I put a 1 just to remind me that there's only one x over here. So when you multiply, I have 1x here, and I got 2 more over here. So in total, I have 3 x's, and that's how I get 8x to the third power. Then I distribute to the 3x. So again, I'm going to multiply negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6. Then I do the x's. There's 1x out here, and there's 1x at the end, so that means I have 2 x's, and that's how I get negative 6x squared. I cannot combine them because one is x cubed, one is x squared, so they are not considered like terms. So my final answer is 8x cubed minus 6x squared. Next example. Again, I have an x on the outside and x is on the inside. And because of the parentheses, I am going to distribute. So first I do negative x squared times negative 4x squared. So negative times negative 4 is a positive 4. Then I have 2 x's on the outside, 2 x's on the inside. So in total, I have 4 of them. So that's how I get x to the 4th. Then I'm going to distribute the negative x squared to the second term. So I do negative x squared times 3x, which is negative 3x to the third power. And again, I have 2 x's on the outside, 1 on the inside, So I have a total of 3 x's. Then I do the negative, which is really negative 1 times a positive 3, and that's how I got the negative 3. Next step is to do negative x squared times negative 4. Well, again, there's like an invisible 1 here, so it'd be like negative 1 times negative 4, which is positive 4. And then since there's only one x squared and nothing on the inside, I would simply drop the x squared. So my final answer is 4x to the fourth minus 3x to the third plus 4x to the second power. Next, I'm going to do both combining like terms and the distributive property. You always want to do distributive property first because parentheses is always the first step. So I'm going to get rid of the parentheses on each one. This time I have 2 sets of parentheses, so I have to distribute with 2 different sides. First, I'll work on the left. So I do 3 times x, which is 3x. Then I do 3 times 4, which is a positive 12. Now I'm going to work on the second set of parentheses, and I use the number that's directly outside of those parentheses. So I have 4 times x, which is 4x, and 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. Now if you notice, I have 2 sets of x's and 2 sets of constants. So the next step would be to combine like terms. So I'm going to first combine my x's. So I have 3x plus 4x, which is 7x. Then I have my constants, positive 12 minus 8, which is 4. So my final answer is 7x plus 4, because the x's and the 4 are not alike, and so they do not get combined any further. Next one. I'm going to distribute the 4 through the parentheses. So I have 4 times x, which is 4x, and 4 times negative 7, which is negative 28. Then the next set of parentheses I'm going to multiply by the negative 6 that's on the outside. So I do negative 6 times negative 4x, which is positive 24x. Then I do negative 6 times 2, which is negative 12. As you notice, I have 2 sets of x's, 2 sets of constants, so we want to combine like terms next. I'm going to start with the x's. So when I combine the x's, I got 4x plus 24x, which is 28x. Then I combine the constants, negative 28 minus 12, which is negative 40. So my final answer is 28x minus 40. Next example. This one is a bit different because I have x and y inside the parentheses, but we still do the same process. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times y is 8y. Then I do the second set of parentheses. 2 times 3x is 6x, and 2 times 7y is 14y. Now I want to combine like terms. All the x's go together, all the y's go together, and I always like to do this alphabetically. So first I'm going to combine the x's. 8x plus 6x is 14x. 8y plus 14y is 22y. So my final answer is 14x plus 22y. Last example. Same thing, we have x's and y's inside the parentheses. So I do negative 6 times 2x, which is negative 12x. Then I do negative 6 times 3y, which is negative 18y. Now in the next set of parentheses, there is no number here, but we always want to make sure that if there's not a number, that means there's an invisible 1. So this really means negative 1 times negative 2x. So negative 1 times negative 2x is positive 2x. Then I do negative 1 times negative 6y, which is positive 6y. Next, we're going to combine like terms. All the x's get grouped together, all the y's get grouped together. So first, we do negative 12x plus 2x, which is negative 10x. Then we do negative 18y plus 6y, which is negative 12y. Our final answer, negative 10x minus 12y.